Hey everyone, and welcome to part 2 of our Medicare 101 educational video series, When to Enroll and What to Watch Out For. I am happy to guide you through this today. If you're approaching your 65th birthday, I can all but guarantee what your kitchen counter looks like right now. A towering and overwhelming flood of Medicare mailers. You've got postcards, thick booklets, warnings, sales pitches, and it kind of feels like trying to drink from a fire hose, right? Well, take a deep breath and relax. You're in the right place. Today, we're going to clear away all that clutter and just focus on the hard facts. No sales pitch, just setting up a clear, straightforward timeline so you can actually take control of your retirement without all the stress. Okay, let's dive right in. Because let's face it, this is the $1,000 question. When should you actually enroll? I hear from so many folks who are genuinely anxious about this, and honestly, that anxiety is completely valid. Making a mistake with your Medicare enrollment isn't like missing a highway exit. Your GPS won't just say recalculating and fix it in 2 minutes. It can lead to costly, irreversible penalties that follow you for the rest of your life. The rules are strict. Your timeline matters. But here's the good news. The roles are also entirely predictable once you know exactly what to look for, and I'm here today to tell you exactly that. So to get us there, here is our guided roadmap. We're going to hit 4 main stops. First up, the 3 crucial timing windows. Then, how to delay Medicare safely when needed. Third, the costs of waiting and putting off Medicare. And finally, the importance of using an independent broker. Breaking it down step by step will make the whole maze much more manageable. Section 1. The 3 crucial timing windows. Think of this as your foundational guide to Medicare timelines. So the most important window you have is your initial enrollment period, or the IEP. And as you go through this video and others, you will see Medicare loves their acronyms. But think of this as your primary safest welcome to Medicare window. It is 7 months long. It starts 3 months before the month you turn 65. It includes your birthday month, and then it extends for 3 months after. Fun little fact, if you're born on the 1st of the month, your birth month is actually considered the month before you actually turn 65, so it moves everything up by a month. Confusing, right? However, instead of getting confused, just remember this. If you sign up for Part A and Part B during those first 3 months before your birthday, your Medicare coverage will begin on the very first day of your birthday month, and boom, you're set. But if you wait until your birthday month or those 3 months after to sign up, in that case, your coverage start date actually gets delayed to the first day of the following month. And this can easily leave you without health insurance for a brief period. So taking early action in this window is by far the safest route. And this brilliantly illustrates what happens outside of that initial window. Say you miss your IEP. Medicare provides a general enrollment period, or the GEP, running from January 1st to March 31st every year. But be warned, this is a strict backup window. If you have to use the GEP, your coverage won't start until the first day of the month after you sign up, meaning you could be facing a gap in your healthcare coverage until then. There are also special enrollment periods that can be used, such as leaving credible insurance coverage as well, that can be used outside of the standard enrollment windows. Once you have your original Medicare in place, the enrollment windows don't stop. They keep coming, year after year. Think of these next windows as the tune-up windows. The first and most heavily used is going to be the annual enrollment period, or the AEP. This window runs from October 15th to December 7th. This one is not for first-time enrollment. Instead, it's your routine fall tune-up window. It's when current Medicare beneficiaries can join, switch, or drop Medicare Advantage or prescription drug plans just to make sure their coverage still meets their changing needs for the next year. Each year, plan benefits can change. Insurance companies must notify you of these changes at the tail end of September or the first week of October. Once you see these changes, you have a decision to make. Keep what you had the previous year or look for a new insurance plan. Any changes to your plan made during this annual enrollment period will be effective January 1st. But what if I screwed something up? What if I didn't realize one of my expensive medications was no longer covered by my plan the following year? You're in luck. January 1st through March 31st is what's called the Open Enrollment Period, or OEP. I know, annual enrollment period and open enrollment period, couldn't they make things less confusing? OEP gives you the option to make some changes. You can make what is called a like-to-like plan change. So more or less, the new plan needs to be the same type of plan the old one was, but that drug that wasn't covered by Company X might be covered by Company Y, so as long as Company Y has a like plan, you can make a plan change. Not to complicate things too much, but there are also additional special enrollment periods for plan changes as well. Things like moving to a new area, retiring and coming off of an employer plan, a change in your income that has you starting to get state assistance in several other scenarios can allow you to make changes outside of the normal enrollment periods. Moving right along to Section 2, delaying Medicare safely, specifically when you're working past 65. So the modern retirement reality is that many folks continue to work well into their late 60s, even their 70s. If that's you, listen up, as this is important when deferring Medicare. Here is the golden rule of deferral. Delaying your Medicare enrollment past age 65 is perfectly safe, but only if you maintain active, credible coverage. What exactly does that mean? Well, it means you or your spouse are currently actively employed and you're covered by that employer's group health plan that meets the Medicare credibility standards. Also, in most cases, the employer needs to have 20 or more employees for this to work seamlessly as your primary coverage over Medicare. But as long as you maintain this specific active coverage, you can safely delay Part B, no fear of penalties. However, and really pay attention here, you must avoid what we call the coverage traps. These traps include things like COBRA, certain retiree health plans, VA coverage, and individual marketplace or ACA insurance plans. None of these, I repeat, none of these count as active employment coverage in the eyes of Medicare. Relying on these instead of active group coverage to delay your Medicare, it's going to result in permanent late enrollment penalties. You just cannot substitute a retiree plan for active employee coverage and expect Medicare to waive the rules. It just doesn't work that way. Now, don't worry. When that active employer coverage finally does end, whether you retire completely or just leave the company, you are granted an 8-month special enrollment period, or SEP. The clock starts ticking the month after your employment ends or your coverage ends, whichever comes first. You have exactly 8 months to transition seamlessly into Medicare without facing a single penalty. But remember what we just talked about, COBRA does not extend this window, so you absolutely must act within these 8 months. All right, moving on to Section 3. Understanding the costs of waiting, which means diving into late enrollment penalties. Now, what's really interesting here is the financial danger when delaying. If you miss your initial enrollment period and you don't have that qualified active employer coverage we just talked about, Medicare is going to hit you with a Part B late enrollment penalty. They add a 10% fee to your monthly Part B premium for every 12-month period that you were eligible but didn't sign up. Let that sink in for a second. This is not a one-time fine. This is a permanent lifetime penalty. As long as you have Medicare, you will pay that extra percentage every single month, all because of one missed deadline. And unfortunately, the penalties don't stop at Part B. There's a separate accumulating penalty for Part D, which is your prescription drug coverage. Basically, if you go 63 days or more in a row without a plan that covers prescription drugs at least as well as Medicare standard, which is referred to as creditable coverage, you will be penalized when you finally do sign up for a drug plan. On the Medicare Part D side, they're going to charge you 1% for every month that you went without drug coverage. These can really add up. We have seen clients with upwards of 200% penalties. It just goes to show Medicare's continuous coverage rules are incredibly strict, and the financial costs of waiting are very real. Which brings us to Section 4, your strategic partner, and exactly how an independent agent or broker guides you. I know taking all of this in can feel overwhelming, like a giant puzzle, but I've got good news. You don't have to navigate it alone. As an independent brokerage, we act as your personal client advocate. And notice that word independent. We don't work for one specific insurance carrier pushing one specific product. We work for you. We look at the entire landscape of available Medicare options. When someone comes to us for help, our loyalty is to you, the member, and advocating for your specific wants and health needs. So here's how we take the anxiety out of the process. Step 1, we evaluate your exact retirement timeline to identify your needed enrollment windows. That ensures no deadlines are missed. Step 2, we gather information from you and use specialized tools to map your specific doctors, your preferred hospital facilities, and make sure all of your prescriptions are properly covered and any doctors that you see you will have access to. Then we take that list of plans that would cover your docs and scripts, and we find the plan that best covers your needs. Lastly, we take care of all the paperwork to ensure absolutely zero gaps in your healthcare coverage. Beyond all of that, our relationship with our members doesn't just end the day you enroll. Medicare Advantage and Part D plans can change their benefits, their networks, and their drug formularies every single year. But through our year-round advocacy, we stay right by your side. Every fall, during that annual enrollment period we talked about earlier, we are watching for shifting plan details and proactively reviewing your coverage. If your current plan is no longer the best fit, we help you pivot, ensuring you are always protected. I know that was a lot of information, but we made it. I hope you learned something today, and you now understand the vital windows, the safety of active employer coverage, and those strict penalties waiting for those who guess wrong. You really don't need to be overwhelmed by the kitchen counter mail or the complicated rules anymore. You've got the knowledge, and we hope you choose us to be the experts to do the heavy lifting for you. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What is waiting another day going to cost your retirement? Reach out to us. Let's map out your timeline, and let's secure your future together. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.